big man! Oh, it's pretty! It's so pretty!
The Force was strong with the Tropics on Star Wars night. Ian Bennett pulls closer to 400 regular season points, and two of the league's biggest rivals squared off for the first time in 2 years. It's all coming up now. Well, this is MASL Primetime. What's up, everyone? I'm Alex Bastiavansky. It is so great to have you on board for this week's program, and we've got a ton to cover on the show today. Two of the most successful organizations in the history of arena soccer are Baltimore and San Diego. Now, their rivalry goes back decades. The last time they faced off, though, was 2 years ago in a contest that got somewhat heated, to say the least. The two rivals finally squared off once again last weekend. 2 years is a long time to wait. 25 championships these clubs have won combined. Now, 2 years ago, these squads faced off in Baltimore. A back and forth affair. The Blast won the contest 9-5. It was a great game, and it got testy, to say the least. Several blue cards were handed out. Tensions were running high. Well, Friday, the rivalry renewed after 2 years. Plenty of fireworks in this one as well, and it's the Sockers that strike first. Bad luck for Baltimore. Watch as the ball will deflect off the defender, Jeremy Raley, right there, and in one's up San Diego, but the Blast would respond. Lucas Roque heading home, the second chance, and it was a 1-1 game. Second quarter now. San Diego leading 2-1 at this point. Adriano Dos Santos and Felipe Gonzalez showing there's still no love lost between these teams. Still as heated as ever, but cooler heads would prevail, and it was a darn good game. Nelson Santana deflects it home to pull them within one, and then in the second half,
drive by Donatelli, deflected in front goal. Nelson Santana on the back post. So dangerous on those. Out comes Kalu. Kalu with some space, cuts it forward. Still has it. Shot, chip, save, rebound, score!
The Blast were up, and an upset was brewing. San Diego claws back, though. Watch this one. Off Baltimore's Mike Diesel and in. Ouch. Second time this game that's happened. Off a Blast player and into their own net. It's tied 5-5, and then the Sockers take the lead. Craig Childs just creams the perfect one-timer. San Diego would ultimately take this one. They dropped the Blast by a 9-6 final score. Tacoma was in Florida, and it was Star Wars night. Tropics players wore these special jerseys. You can head to their Facebook page to find out how to bid on them. All proceeds will benefit the YMCA of West Central Florida. Great stuff, guys. Love those jerseys. Already up 1-0, Drew Ruggles. Dr. Drew continuing his scorching hot play. The Stars cut the lead in half. Nick Pereira to Felipe Souza, and it's 2-1. Second quarter, they even it up. Pereira to Vinny Dantas, and the big Brazilian makes it a 2-2 game. That's as good as it got for Tacoma on this day, though. Fancy footwork here by Breno Oliveira, and he gives the Tropics the lead, and then my captain, Victor Pereras with the moves. Then the setup for Ricardo Dieguez, Florida up 4-2. 4 minutes later, they go back to Ruggles. 24 points in 15 games this season for the defender. Great year. He makes it 5-2. They would cruise the rest of the way, taking it 10-4 over Tacoma. Okay, Harrisburg had lost 10 straight when it hosted Utica last weekend, and the visitors hit first. Tim Goldman right on the doorstep, and he makes it 1-0. 3 minutes later, Ben Raman spins off his man, slams it into the mesh, and UCFC was off to a quick 2-0 advantage. Harrisburg responds, though. Rafael Ayujo, the pretty finish to cut the deficit to 1, but nothing was as pretty on this day as this one.
He gets it back, shoots and scores! Dominic Francis! What a blast! Right point!
Yeah, that thing was on a rope. Unfortunately for the Heat, it was all downhill from there. Bo Yelovats makes it 3-2 in the second half. Tim Goldman notches his second of the day, and UCFC took control from there. 10-5 the final. afterwards, Joey Tavernese talked about how his squad was able to pull away in the second half of play.
They're young like we are. We caught one at the end of the second half, and then, in indoor, goals can come quick. So a barrage, 5 makes it 3-2 to 8, 7-2, 8-2, 8-3, and now you're in trouble, especially if you don't have the firepower to get yourself back into it.
Okay, a look at your top scorers before the break. Ian Bennett continues to lead the way, followed by Frank Taiu, Victor Pereiras, Craig Giles in the top 5 now, and Mohamed Ndiaye of St. Louis to round it out. Hey, welcome back to MASL Primetime. Since the start of February, few teams have been as hot as the Chihuahua Savage. Now, simply put, they have emerged as a legitimate threat to win the Ron Newman Cup this season. The Savage had won 7 of its last 8 heading into last weekend, and after its performance in those 3 games, teams should be downright terrified at the thought of having to face Chihuahua come playoff time. And it's still tough to believe that the Savage started the season with 7 straight losses. They've just been so good ever since. And they draw first blood. Edgar Gonzalez tattooing that offering upstairs. And the Savage would add another and lead 2-0 after 1 quarter. They kept coming in the second. Carlos Hernandez, the gorgeous little toe poke. 3-0 for Chihuahua. The Sidekicks finally get on the board. Cody Ellis scored some beauties last weekend. That was one of them, and that cut the deficit to 2 goals. The Savage would run away with it, though. Brian Macias, just way too much time and space. That made it 3-1 Chihuahua. They would cruise from that point on and take this one 8-2 over Dallas. Now, they did it all over again in Chihuahua 2 days later. The Sidekicks hoping for a different result this time. It wasn't to be, though. 4-12 in, Brian Macias opens the account for the Savage, and it's a 1-0 game. Dallas showed fight, though. Cody Ellis, another of his aforementioned beauties, cranking it top shelf, and it was a 1-1 game at that point, and Dallas actually takes the lead. Sebastian Mendez gets his shot deflected right into the net, though. And the Sidekicks had their first lead of the weekend. It did not last, though. Macias smashes his second of the day, and it was tied up 2-2 after 1 quarter. The Savage would live up to their name in the second. They were relentless. Edgar Gonzalez gives them a lead. They would never relinquish. He makes it 3-2. 3 minutes later, Gonzalez feeds Uriel Zwart. He bulges the twine, part of a 5-goal explosion, and they would win this one going away and taking down the Dallas Sidekicks 8-3. And this was the first of the Savages' 3 games last week in Ontario, a West Division showdown, and they opened the scoring. Enrique Cañas, clinical on the finish. He makes it 1-0 for the Savage, and then late in the first they would add to it. Adrian Miller takes the shot. It goes in. He gets credit for the goal. On the replay, looks like it might have gone in off Cesar Ruiz, but regardless, 2-0 Chihuahua. In the second, the Fury get one back. It is one of the weirder ones you will ever see. Taiu fires it off the boards. It goes in off Adrian Miller. Look at that. Ouch. You gotta love arena soccer, though. That cuts it to 2-1. The Savage always kept it just out of reach, though. They steal it, and then Enrique Cañas breaking bottles as he goes top shelf. Back to Taiu. He gets a second of the contest, shrugging off Miller, notching his brace right there. It was 3-2 at that point. Second half now.
Garay up top to Cañas. That's a 3-on-1 counter for Chihuahua. Only Obasi and Toth there. There's a shot. Boom! There is a goal by Brian Aguilar. And the Chihuahua Savage go up 4-2.
Good call, Philly. Chihuahua takes it 5-4. Fury coach Jimmy Nordberg shared his thoughts afterwards.
Well, they defended very, very well. They put a lot of numbers behind the ball. We struggled to get in rhythm because of their pressure. We had moments where we still had chances, especially in the first half, with some transitional moments, 3v2s and 2v1s, and we didn't take advantage of it. So that came back to bite us.
Man, Chihuahua is looking dangerous. Okay, San Diego's East Division swing also included Utica, and they got pushed in this one, although they did open the scoring 2:53, and Christian Gutierrez makes it 1-0. 3 minutes later, though, Joey Tavernese finding some daylight, and it's 1-1. Soon after, Craig Childs gives San Diego the lead back, but comes up limping. He would sit the rest of the game with a slight hamstring pull, but relax, Sockers fans. He's day-to-day. He will be back soon. The Sockers kept the pressure on. Cesar Cerda giving them the 2-goal advantage right there. Second quarter, Utica grabs another, and it's a beauty. Nate Bordeaux, the spinorama, pulls the Blues closer, 3-2. But the visitors just would not let them equalize. Sweet passing here. Juan Manuel Rojo to Tavoy Morgan. And they led 6-3 after 3 quarters of play. Now, UCFC would make it 6-4, and then Tim Goldman would pull them to within 1 with time winding down, but they could not find that tying goal in the end. That is a huge performance by Utica, though, keeping the powerful Sockers so close. Still 6-5 San Diego, your final. Okay, and just a heads up, Ian Bennett is oh so close to 400. He is at 396 regular season points, so close to 400. Now, of course, including playoff points, he's over it. But this is for regular season points. Huge accomplishment, and he's only 4 away. Of course, he's the MASL's leading scorer at this moment right now, and he's got 2 games to get it done next weekend, March 18th and March 20th against the St. Louis Ambush. Back to MASL Primetime, everyone. So it is officially crunch time. There's only a couple of weeks of regular season play remaining. So what better time to take stock of all that's gone down in the MASL so far this season than right now? And to help me do that, the MASL's commissioner, Keith Tozer, joining me now. Keith, thanks for joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. And it's always great to be on the show.
That's great to have you on, man. And it's been probably close to a couple of months since we've done this, actually. So we do have a lot to get caught up on. And let's just start with a look at the season up to this point and how you feel things have gone so far.
Well, to have all 12 teams back this season to play, we felt was success on its own. And then, of course, the game on the field has been fantastic. We're coming in the last 3 weeks of the regular season. It's going to be a great run towards the playoffs towards the end of March.
Well, exciting news last week, Keith, and the announcement that the Mesquite Outlaws will be returning to the MASL. Of course, they played 1 season in the league, the pandemic-shortened campaign back in 2019-20, but they're a great organization. It's awesome to have them back, and it's definitely going to add a bit of spice to the Dallas area as they renew their rivalry with the Sidekicks.
Yeah, you know, when Mesquite first came into the league several years ago, they did not have a long runway, which means they only had 4 or 5 months to get up and running. Now they have about 8 months to get up and running. Obviously with Tattoo, the big name is the coach there, the rivalry with the Sidekicks right across town. I think it's really important. It really helps the league. Great ownership. It's going to be exciting to see him back playing.
So the league has really made some huge strides this year, Keith, in terms of its media content. All kinds of different ways for MASL fans to get their fix now. Of course, not just with MASL Primetime coming back, but other new shows and new forms of media that have been introduced. Just talk about that and the developments this season.
Well, our goal was to advance our media presence. We need to get back into the conversation of soccer here in the United States. I think JP, along with Lindsay, have done a remarkable job. I mean, first, let's talk about you, Alex. MASL Primetime has been a fantastic show all season long. You got Pablo and Adam that comes back on MASL Monday. You got Michelle with MASL midweek. And then you got Michael Lewis writing with Inside the Indoor Game. I think the presence for the media has been wonderful.
Well, finally, Keith, as I mentioned right off the top, we're in the home stretch now. There's only a couple of weeks of regular season play remaining, and there are multiple scenarios that could still play out as regular season play wraps up. Maybe just to help give us some clarity on what the playoff format is going to look like this season.
Yeah, the playoff format has each team that wins their division is in the playoffs. So now you have 3 teams. Then it's the next 5 best records. So you could actually have 4 teams within one division make the playoffs. Teams will really have to look at how many points they have, how far they're away from an opponent, and do we need to win in regulation and not just win in overtime? I mean, it's going to be really interesting.
All right, Keith, unfortunately, that is it for the segment. We got to wrap it up, but thanks so much. Always love having you on the show, man. Keep up the great work, and we will do this again before the season ends. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Alex. Always a pleasure. And a big hello to all the fans in the MASL.
Hey, welcome back to MASL Primetime. So after starting out the season on an absolutely torrid pace, the KC Comets have cooled down considerably as of late. The squad that started off 6-0 had lost 5 of its last 7 contests heading into last weekend. The Comets were desperate to get back on track against Central Division rivals Milwaukee. And there was a ton riding on this game. And for the Comets' Leo Gibson, he had a chance to become the all-time leading scorer in KC professional indoor soccer. He came into the game with 279, trailing Wild West Wade by just 1. But first and foremost, both teams needed a win. Ian Bennett gets the wave on the board first. The Comets respond though. John Sosa just hammering the ball home. It was 1-1 after 1 in the second. Sosa on the restart again, just making it look way too easy. KC goes up 2-1. Back and forth they go. Stuart Grable to Bennett, and IB26 knots it up 2-2. Skip ahead to the fourth now, tied 5-5 until Mr. Bennett gets his hat trick and the Wave take the 1-goal lead. Time for Gibson to go to work though. He ties it up and in the process ties the record for career Kansas City goals, his 280th overall. We'll get back to him in a moment. Priority number 1 for KC was the win, and they get that. Benji steals, cranks it upstairs. That is the winner, but as promised, there was more to come from Leo the legend.
Over to Gerson. Gordy has a goal. Gibson shooting from distance.
Could that be the
Is
record?
it gonna go?
Could that be the record?
It is the record. Leo Gibson is now the all-time goal scorer in Kansas City indoor history.
Yeah, Leo sets the KC record with his 281st career goal. Afterwards, he shared his thoughts on the big accomplishment.
I feel honored and privileged. It's been a lot of work, but I want to also say thank you to all of my teammates over the past 11 years. I've been fortunate to play with incredible guys with this organization, and it's just a privilege and a blessing.
Yeah, way to go, Leo. Okay, one more game. Harrisburg was suffering through 10 straight losses when they hosted Baltimore. Could they break the streak? It didn't look good early. 17 seconds in, Tony Donatelli makes it 1-0. But hold on, Rafael Araujo responds for Harrisburg. 2 minutes later, Ty Hall makes it 2-1. Heat shortly after. It's Hall again, notching their 3rd right there. And then
Malachi crunch on Miller. Here's a shot to go! Danny DePrima! And the Heat are opening it up here.
Yeah, open it up they did. The Heat explode for 8 goals and finally snap that brutal losing streak. Okay, primetime players for last week. Offensively, Joey Tavernese of UCFC, great week. 6 points, 3 goals, 3 assists for the resurgent Blues, who split their games last week but nearly took down powerful San Diego. And from the Chihuahua Savage, your defensive player of the week, Berna Valdivinos, the keeper for Chihuahua. 29 saves, just 5 goals against, and a huge week for Chihuahua, who swept games against Dallas and took down Ontario. Plays of the week now.
He gets it back, shoots and scores! Dominic Francis, what a blast!
Ahora el equipo local, Pareja, se la va a entregar Escalante, prefiere ir con Torres de primera intención, golazo.
Reaction time from William Manzella to make a save. You can't see.
Oh, Childs! Great, Carvalho gets it over to Vandergrift. Shot, go!
Shot by Yelovitz! Down the slot!
Y viene Cody Ellis, tocaba para Méndez, sigue Cody Ellis, el remate, golazo. ¡Gol!
Holds it in. Tavernisi, great centering feed, turnaround, Bordeaux scores!
John Sosa.
Shoots and buries it, Sosa!
You're not going to out-muscle Berto. Oh, but Macias has it. Flacco with a shot. Goal! Flacco!
And Diego zone line. Pino, Morgan to the trailer, return to Morgan, and he scores. Greatly executed.
Over to Gerson. Gordy has a goal. Gibson shooting from distance.
Could that be the
Is it
record?
gonna go?
Could that be the record?
It is the record. Leo Gibson is now the all-time goal scorer in Kansas City. Indoor history.
And that is going to wrap up this week's show. But just a reminder before we go, of course, for all your MASL needs, the latest statistics, news, great feature stories as well. Be sure to check out the league's different social media outlets. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week.